This is not about analyzing what has been done up until now in this pandemic, but it certainly is an attempt to provide a different pathway from where we have gone over the last year. Many of us were here back in March 10th when we were in our committee meetings and we were called into session to very quickly vote on a couple of items and close out for the year. And at that point, we didn't see a pathway to be able to be into this building to even function as a legislature. With some foresight and some expenditures, we were able to put in place a process by which this chamber could vote. And certainly, here we are today. And what this amendment seeks to do, it's not a debate about whether or not an emergency exists. It's not about whether we should be wearing masks. It's not about whether there shouldn't be some management of this pandemic by the executive branch. But it is about going forward, what is the process that we are going to have with our current executive structure. It should not be lost on any of us that we are notwithstanding, the underlying bill notwithstands our current law, because there is no pathway to really properly extend these executive orders. The very bill before us is recognizing the fact that our system right now is broken. The underlying statutes, which have been around for 100 years, don't provide for the legislature to step in and make a decision. It's all unilateral with the executive branch time and again making these decisions. And granted, today we are coming in to extend that power, but I do think there needs to be a permanent change to those statutes. And that is the spirit in which that amendment is offered. I also believe, and I thought back in September when the Committee of 10 got together to extend these amendments, extend the declarations, that in January we would have been sitting down to start reviewing the executive orders and to start managing the pandemic. And that has not happened. And that's what this amendment is attempting to do, is to sit down and begin managing this pandemic. It shouldn't be lost on any of us that the one frustration that everybody's had in this chamber is how the money is being spent. And what is the first piece of legislation that we've done? We passed House Bill 6555, which is asserting the legislature's authority over all the federal money that's brought into the state of Connecticut. So if the legislature could assert its authority over all of that money, it certainly could assert its authority in some level of capacity of when the governor is going to be able to declare an emergency and for what duration of time. And we need that power of nullification, because if there is overreach that our constituents are unhappy about, we're not in a position like we were all summer long, shrugging our shoulders and saying there's nothing we could do, we're in a pandemic. This amendment provides a pathway to say to the legislature, we could come in and nullify an executive order by a majority vote, which the majority party has those votes, they control that decision making. So all we are asking for is the legislature to be able to have that process. So with that, I certainly stand in support of this amendment. I think it is a reasonable pathway, and it's something different. It's not more of the same that we've seen over the last year. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.